trying to remember what I was going to say. That's how tall the grass is. You ever heard? I'm not going to say the name of the game. That's why it's not fair. On a particular game somewhere, the grass is this tall. Right? And you're crawling. How the hell does he even see it? I don't know. Notice I'm in the middle of it, and that's a fire headed this way. It's actually more spread out. So when that spot will probably burn pretty good. This spot, see how there's not a lot of grass. But I figured I'd tell you the story as I walked to the pasture, or to the pond to show you the pond. The story I wanted to tell you has to do with two swords and a peace treaty, an alliance with kings at a time frame. Before any of these houses were even here, except for that one house that I live in. Now, I don't know about government conspiracy and house moved on the lot to look like the old house to see how they act, psych exam or social studies. But this is the pond. It pissed him off to high hell. Like churning his stomach knowing that he killed a deer with his sword and ate it, but he didn't because his sword was in the pond. But it has to do with overseas and alliances. They became brothers in arms. Brothers in a peace treaty. Cool shit. I was going to show you the pond because before he went back on his journey and the other guy went on his journey, they stood here on the bank of this pond. The AI at time frames is like the one that buried the treasure. It's like it has merit. We can't find the sword. At another time frame, it said what's about. Where the hell are they? Homeboy had a monster truck. He used to try driving it through there. But this is the pond that they stood on the shore of right here. Look at all this. And at the same time, they both threw their swords in the pond and shook hands. Before the EU, which is known as the European Union, that disbanded, they say it in news, but you never know unless they're there, you know. Before EU even existed, they fell about right there. I'm not going out there to find it. But one time I came down here to tell you a story, and that sure the hell wasn't a catfish, so I ran home as fast as I could. And called the Department of Defense. They said, afraid of a grass snake. I said, a grass snake? That's an anaconda. In that pond. A really bad joke I heard. The scary parts. They diverted the flow of water. There's a water tower that always overflows when they turn the pump up. Excess pressure pours out and it runs right down here. But that ain't even close to where they claim it sank in. And somebody had a time frame said, look, it's just a pond, I swear to God. As top secret can be for the gentleman. They say it was the entry point to a cave that ran that way. But the problem was, the cave runs straight north. Like they're always bitching about it. And then they like scratch their heads and then they look the other way. None of that treasure's there. The joke's about time elapse and stuff falling down. They say at a time frame it actually collapsed. I don't fear that one. As far as underground scaries that try to lead you to, as much as the one that leads to a giant 7-mile fall into a pit of tree limbs and oil and giant sea monsters. I was going to show you the little fire. I didn't want to walk down here because I was afraid the fire would get big. They're lighting it all over and it's barely burning, so. But what I wanted to do, that's what I wanted to do. He made a fire block with a plow up by the house, and I noted he made one down here. I wanted to walk the line a bit. I'll tell the truth, I get excited about historical data associated with buried treasure. They'll talk about you want to go to school and stuff. I'm like, no. I feel good today. I sit in the bedroom. I can't. My stomach is just like at work. How's that sound? For reals. And because it's like at work. What the hell are you doing? Dog called. Didn't answer because I'm a rude dude. Other stuff, he went on a treasure hunt, right? Talking about once they get in the gear of buried treasure. He found a piece of metal down here. It was a door to a truck or some shiz. I think he got $40 for it. Then he got super mad. This is why I get mad. The person who gave him $40 ended up only giving him like 12. So okay. The fire didn't cross any of the line, which is good. But somewhere in this vicinity, like where I'm at, I mean, the sun's setting. Look at the tree. You're for damn near there. He found it like right here. But the questionable data has to do with a truck that fell in quicksand at the edge of my back porch at a time frame. It just completely sunk, and they say it's still there. And I dream of searching for it. But this is the fire thing, fire block. He did a pretty good job. I mean, when he lit this side, there was like 40-foot flames, and the neighbor's pasture was already mowed. It's way better than my ugly face. A lot of cool stuff. It's dirt bike heaven. What I tell you, you love him. He jumped on a dirt bike. He rode it over the North Pole. But I should tell you, before he did, his kickstand fell off in a pasture somewhere. He parked the dirt bike at that time frame behind that old house in Port de Air. If you're king of Port de Air, king of air, why the hell are you in England? Because the chick he was boning was in England? That's the house he parked the dirt bike at, for the record. I should tell you, it don't got a kickstand. How you know? Would you believe me if the robot found it and put it in her stash of buried treasure? And I found it. It's kind of cool. That tall grass we walked through is about to light. But I think it is actually the kickstand. But the problem is, I think the kickstand, she buried her treasure in the same place that he lost it. And that's what pissed him off one day. He was like, bullshit, I probably lost it over there. I'll make a video of the little pieces of metal I found. So it looks like I don't know. We make it to the house before the fire gets us. So it didn't fall in a hole. That's just good. Sometimes walking up, I don't know why or from where, but somebody sometimes shoots me, which is scary. Look at that ash. I'm lying about that shit too. TI-82 or something. Type of calculator, sir. Hurry, do the math. I did it. If we don't go walk faster, we're gonna be cooked. I love it out here. What part I love, I think of it like then. It's this time of year. It's still a little bit chilly, but they're like, we can make it. And the kids don't even know what mom's doing. She's just throwing shit in the wagon. She snatches them up and throws them in it. Yeah. It's creeping up on us. We're not gonna make it. Hurry. Nah, we'll go. I love the idea of, like, imagine like a squad. Y'all got gun permits is how I imagine it. Look at that. You sure it was a robot? I found body parts to something. Oh. Something the dogs drug up. When we were kids, this pasture, you couldn't even step anywhere without stepping on a turtle. It is so weird now, like, where are the turtles at? I don't know. Forgetting what I was to say. Pork chops. Sneak up on this bird. That's all I was gonna say. I like to think that it was, but what I really think is for the sake of the video somebody did, but that's not what I noted. There was a green canvas bag. Looks like a bag, but it might have been a coat. I think that's what all the scraps of metal were in. But the plow dug it up. That's what I was thinking. So it's definitely an initial thought, like it was definitely a stowage, not it fell off the truck. But I think the other story about it's better. The AI robot story is super cool and the robot likes it, but that's different stuff for school kids that live in a parking lot. What was I gonna say? They don't live in the parking lot. Oh yeah, I know, they bitched a bunch about that shit. I think it's the bag that it was a wagon at time frame, but I don't think that's what I found. I think pieces of it's what I found, but the other bits I think was somebody's stowage, like additions to stowage. Hey. What's up? I didn't light it. I was gonna smoke a cigarette the whole way, but now, if that wasn't an hour, I don't know what it was. But used to, for my hour of exercise, I'm on full-time disability. My hour of exercise was walking around it. I seen one snake, and I said later, dudes, I'm walking around the backyard. The backyard, as far as government weird shit, is 10 times worse than the pasture. Because there's cows in the pasture, and the same assholes that fucking wanted me to know shit are the same assholes that eat the cows. So I like duck, and then I'm out. I'm like, jump the fence later, bitches. And then I'm like, shh. It's pretty cool. This burned pretty good. It was seem nice, controlled, exceptional skills at burning down the pasture. I'm ready to ride a four-wheeler again. I watched one of my old videos and I instantly felt like I don't care if I got 100 knots on my head, I'd still want to ride with my friends. More stuff. Plastic bag of potatoes. Down here is where I found some weird shit. We'll get further to it. But I wouldn't stress on it too much. Pieces of broken glass. Right here is where I found the fabric that was down there that got plowed up. So in this area, because how the plow works, it kicks the lower one over. This is where I found it. And right here is where I found a bunch of pieces of metal. When I found pieces of metal, a lot of them are like this, pieces of glass, stuff that you don't want out here with the cows. So it's like, we found treasure, a bunch of diamonds and shit. They were all glistening. And I'd be like, no, they were definitely pieces of glass. But what I initially found was a piece of pottery. Like a coffee cup type thing. Right? That's like old ceramic insulator for electric line or some shit. But the reason I tripped out, I found the shoehorn. I thought it was the robot's foot and that she lied and a giant spider ate her. And I was like, oh shit, that's not good. But right here is where I kind of seen a piece of metal. Like, see this? That's a piece of metal. Some piece of something. I found a bunch of that down in the hole near the fabric. So like, it's like there was a stowage that it tore open. Yeah, so right down here, see this? Like this. That's a piece of metal. And these. It's important to your class. It's really important to me. But I don't like dying in that cave. And I know where it's at. But some of them are definitely pieces of something. And others are like, we could dump them pieces of glass out. We don't need. If a cow eats a piece of glass, it's bad news. Some cows know, like, their eyeballs are attached to their heads. They like do look at stuff, and they do know not to eat scary stuff. That's that piece of pottery. That's what attracted my attention. A piece of pottery, yeah. And then I was like, historically, I'll tell the truth, this area was paid for stowage. And like, what do you mean? Whenever there was weird talks of government. Talks of government! Weird shit. They would secretly, like way later, I don't know. They already really dug a bunch of shit up at a time frame. Kept it top secret, pretended they found it overseas and shit. But this whole area was the people who owned it, which was like the king. Kings are eternal, and I don't want to get in an argument. So I just rent the house, right? Right out there was a stowage with an entry point, and they pay them for lifetime lineage stowage. Most of it was like silver items. A lot of them were like a bucket of whatever that shiny shit is, because it's expensive. Stuff like that. You'd stick it in there and they were all labeled. But that's sort of what grasped my attention at finding that piece of fabric. Right there. It's GPS coordinates and scary kids. You see the fucking tree? Straight out from the fucking tree. That didn't work. I looked. I walked out in the pasture. I was like, good luck, homies. I'm gonna go ride the dirt bike. Right here's where I found the first pieces of metal, which was like, so I dug in the dirt and then I found more with my hands, like stuck them in there. There's undoubtedly more pieces because this is all metal. See? But it doesn't mean that it's a good their idea of it, where they think it's completely full of steel or the raw material of it. It doesn't mean it's a good investment, but I'll show you exactly what I mean. That's something. See? And then being like, those are pieces of something. I don't want to lie. I think he knocked up or off. I think he knocked open a box that had treasure in it. Because look. Like the wood might have been rotted. I think that one's just a rock. That one's probably just a rock or a piece of it. But last night's conversation was about the secret that the people that live here refuse to talk about because they do not want to play in the dirt at all, ever. Queen walking right around here somewhere was like, aha, nothing, we'll handle it at our time. Scary, super scary cave off in fucking more metal, see? Super scary cave off in the middle of town. That's not. It's more like Metropolis. Cool, we found like remnants of a fucking subway or something. That idea? The tenants at Time Frame, information pertaining to werewolves and how they didn't have a place to live, so they lived in a cave that was abandoned. Close to Broadway, it heads from north to south. And somewhere is like demands the information to know if it's there. The other place, they don't want anybody to know about anything scary underground because psychos want to dig holes and shit. Like me. It's like, oh, what's that? More metal. Pieces of shit. See? Roughly in this area seems to be a good assortment of what the guys I like on the internet. Some of them do that. I like 100-year-old coin that I had to pay $100 for, and I love the idea of throwing it in a smelter and not telling the government and making something out of it. More metal. Hey, that's my cat. Her name is Hot Rod. It's a type of vehicle. Her name's Hot Rod Emerald. It's a type of gem, jewelry, rock, carved rock. So I don't see nothing else. But you know what I mean? That's what I mean. Just kick around and there's junk. A wagon that was used to haul lumber and hay actually did rot in this area at a time frame down to the guts, but that's not. I think all that was wrapped up in a bag and the bag got tore to bits. But there's still big old pieces of it, like somebody had a plan for smelting and then they didn't finish what they were planning. That's what I was thinking. Some more little pieces. I sort of love it. That's not metal. Yeah, that is. It's another piece. I think it's worth it. I don't know. I'm stupid on that shit. I'll stack this up over there, and I was gonna show you the stupid pieces I found. I don't think they're actually stupid. Those ones are cool. But let's head to the house. I got a what? Yeah, it's still burning. It's gonna flare up on us pretty soon. It's almost to the tall stuff. They run off to the other side. Ow. My grandma. Yeah, I know. This is the rag. The reason I think it was stowage. See these bits that, these two bits were stuck to it. They're metal. And there's still pieces stuck to it. And it's pretty good size, but it still has it has that stuff. Yeah, like that's what I mean. It's like new. But there's still pieces. What I'm saying is, I think it's like pieces that were put in there found, and somebody didn't finish what they were doing. This thing was in there, and I don't want to get to talking too much, but I think that's a door handle. Little bits of these and these, like what we just found. Yeah. Okay. And then in the house, pieces already rinsed off. I got mud on me. I get my ass kicked by Grandma. Uh-oh. Neighbors. Watch out!
Okay, thanks, Dad.
These are the pieces I think are of merit. I found these. Yeah? Alright. This one is a horseshoe. And this one is the one I... Yeah?
The other end.
Is that cool? Like a shoehorn?
So I told him, no, he's up here at our house. So he goes with that.
Then this is the... what I'm getting at, a very, very expensive. It is expensive. Railroad tie stuck in a plow head to hold it on. That's pretty cool, Grandma.
Yeah.
And then this, which I think was a strap. No, that was holding the box. But I think it's a leaf spring for an old ass truck or the wagon. And this is the King's motorcycle kickstand. Port the air. Do you remember anything? You ever find out like niggas done run knives through Kurt's stomach?
Are you getting hungry yet?
Not that I'm a magician. I'm not hungry. I'm gonna make a magic wand out of it. No, Grandma.
You're not hungry.
No.
Okay.
So anyways, this is a pretty priceless treasure. Things of the most expense. This is a belt buckle. Or a horse strap. Can you see it? I will sell it to you for 10,000 bucks. That's an old man bearing off of a 1970. 70 is only 19. Some type of vehicle. I don't know what it is. I'm totally dead. Then this one, which is cool. I think this is a piece of the door handle that we left outside. This. Something. And then this. And one more. This piece, which is the other side of the door. And secretly, the information I got last night was he buried it by the door. He hid the money by the door. What money? Hold up. That money. That's what I think. It's kind of cocky, but it's old shit. But I think that one's worth, like, as far as saying it and posting on YouTube, I wake up with knots on my head. They all beat me up and shit. The railroad tie is worth some cash. Shoe horns worth some cash. It's all worth some cash. Don't look scary. Let's go get the other piece of whatever that thing is. How much? Originally, as an assessor, before I lived with my grandma, when I owned a property, I said 100,000 plus. CIA has that video. I better go. We're going outside to find more buried treasure.
Alright.
That's why it looks like a new bag. Yep. A lot of DVDs were made after that. You cocksucking little motherfucker. Hey, man. That's the door handle. Let's pretend it's family heirloom for kings and queens that would get paid to stow stuff. And it had a door. It's National History Month at Dirty Curdyville. For reals. So that one's cool, but I didn't rinse it off in the sink. You like cracker? I don't know what it is. But I think the kickstand's putting a kickstand in his treasure box. I think that's what really pissed him off. Imagine a gun case. Oh, okay. And the gun case, back in the day, has a metal strap that goes over it. Somewhere in the mix of this mess, which that's what I thought this was. I thought this was the king's knife. Time frame? Yeah. I'll sell it to you for $1 million bucks, since you like talking. Grab that shit, let's go. Grandma's like, are you hungry? I tried to tell her I was a vampire. I can't get there. Weirdly. That video sucks. No, but that's the treasure I found. Like total douchebag, right? How I talk? Mason, man. Since you like to talk, that's $1 million. Alright. I love buried treasure. That's the cool part. For reals. And where I'm at, I think that's what's going on with it. I think that the girl that chose a specific type of bag to put it in so it would sustain stowage, I think she buried it right next to his. She put her treasure with his. Or the reason there's fragments and pieces of other treasures in there. Leave me a comment. I'll sell a piece to you. I gotta go pee, for real. That's not being mean or nothing. I didn't want to talk about it. She keeps yelling at me. I gotta make dinner. I'm out of here. Love you, bye. But she already had dinner. What do you want to eat?
Oh, a sandwich of some kind.
You want me to make it?
If you want to.
Usually I just fashion stuff out of metal and bury it. And I don't tell them. Ow. Shouldn't have said nothing, Kurt. About what? I didn't post it. I was scratching my balls. I'll make grandma a sandwich or something. What do you want to eat?
There's all kinds of sandwich stuff in there.
You want some ham?
Yeah, that'd be okay.
With Miracle Whip?
Yes, please.
Alright.
I think there's a tomato in there too.
You want a tomato with it?
Slice, maybe.
One time a bunch of people killed me
No, don't say that.
because I worked security for the government. And they wanted me to stay at a historical building. And if you hear a voice of an old lady, you better call. Are you retarded? No. Shut up. Fuck off. Shut up. What? Tomato. On today's episode of Cooking with Dirty, Kirking with Dirty, we're going to make ham sandwiches. Starting off by cutting a tomato. I like to just chop. Real initial. But normally when I was younger, I would chop right there and just cut that sucker right out. Whoa! Be careful, since we'd all lose a limb. How much? Assessor, United States President, watches cool movies first. This is like third time. He does remember, trust me. What? Dirty lowrider protecting national interests. A long time ago. So anyways, if you were an assessor, when was their king imported to air? Before Maleficent, that's for sure. Definitely before I Am Legend. Definitely before Harry Potter. It's kind of important. You know what I mean? You ever picked out a really good box to stow shit in? someplace got mad. When I am the same person from 200 years ago, I feel better. When they prove that I'm not, it totally pisses me off. So then I leave the super dork. That's what he said. I was like, yeah, 200 years ago I got arrested for beating up some kid. He's been learning lessons ever since. Oh, yeah? That's what I heard. I'm in trouble. Why? Sharp knife for Miracle Whip. Really? Yeah. That stuff is like all over the place because when Kurt won money at, what's it called? Publishers Clearinghouse. He bought some land before they raped his wife and stole his land. He bought the land and he had it all plowed up for the sake of conversation of matters pertaining to buried treasure. And then he started a scrapyard. Or else, yeah. That's when he made a scrapyard out of it. They were like, how much can I get for this? He like looked at, he threw it on the scale. No, I won't face value. What the hell's face value? Scrap metal. There's like 5 pounds of there. $1 a pound. I need a pack of smokes. She's gonna kill me. Look at the sandwich I made for my grandma. What the hell? That's too much. I farted. I had to for the sake of conversation. And on today's episode, Cooking with Dirty Curdy, Lay's family, Keno family size, wavy, original. For the record, it doesn't say potato chips anywhere on it. It just has potatoes in it. For whatever reason. Let's take this to grandma and see what she says. What the fuck? That's way too much. Sort of what I love doing. There you go, ma'am.
Wow. Thank you. There's dip in the refrigerator.
Oh, you want some dip with it?
Yeah.
All right. We lucked out. She didn't say it was too much. There is dip in the fridge. Where are we at? Well, we're at a Assessor. It said $20. For real? I think so. This is some type of onion dip. Highland French onion dip. Since I'm going to be eating some also, I'm going to put some on my plate. I'm going to take this to grandma. I'm just going to bring you the bucket, and I put a couple scoops on mine.
Well, okay.
I was going to
Thanks.
record you saying that that's way too much, but you didn't say nothing. I don't think it's enough. Me neither, bro. That's why I was like, $1 million, whatever. 10 million. For reals? 10 million bucks? Yeah, it's pre the movies that we got were like from 2070. And labeled copyrighted 1992. And what's that movie where she's like, it's only been 200 years, chill, it's cool, and then the other chick pretends to shoot her. Like, somewhere it's really been like 200 years. So I think the horseshoe is genuinely from the year 1919. Like, honest? Yeah. The horseshoes, I think, is from 1919. The latch, if it is the door latch, is from 1600s, give or take. Because he fell in love with her in 1611, for the record, and he tripped out because they're like, some chick was like, look, you fell in love with her in 1611. It's not my fault if it's 1609. That chick? Yeah. So he was like, what am I going to do? He didn't know what to do, so he took off running. Went and found one way overseas. For else? It matters for their family. What else? All kinds. Like, you want to sit and talk about American history? That was fucking entertaining. It was. Like, the character, mine. A time frame when it's all honor, integrity, national anthem. You know what I mean? Like, when we were kids and they would shoot you if you didn't. They explicitly informed us that we would be shot if we didn't stand up for the national anthem and take our hats off and put our hand on our chest. Now it's just like, nobody does. Or just they do. Somewhere, it was entertaining. Some things weren't. Why? Because they're the same people. You know, what do you mean? Roughly, or wavedly, they're the same people. He wouldn't pay me for my Ruffles commercials, so they're not roughly the same people. He said, you can't. I said, I could look back and be as wavy as I want to be. Buttheads. That was in 1980, so I wasn't born until 1981. The next guy's better. Every video was like, Someplace I had a character assessment on a personal level. He doesn't care about any of that stuff. At all. What was we were gonna do? Have a serious sit down and talk about your lucky horseshoe, James. It's worth a lot of money. For reals? Yep. Your speedy things worth 5,000, 5 to 10 grand. Here. No matter what the hell that they say, that the railroad tie is worth $1 million. No, it's not. You shut up. Real. I will tell you the truth about it. You know how in New York you give the key to the city? He laid in bed. This is the truth of that railroad tie, which I had to face before getting out of bed today so I could find it. That's my disability. Want to go treasure hunting? What are you doing? He's sleeping on the job. He always sleeps on the job. Key to the city at time frame when the new tracks came in. The guy lived in town and handed it to him. He kept it, souvenir. Truth of it, damn plowhead kept falling off of his plow. He's like, God damn it, and he didn't have nothing. He's like, it's important because he knows why I'm gonna use it. because it's a tool. And he stuck it in the plow head to hold the plow onto the goddamn bracket. Plow and then the hole. True story. You want to see that guy pissed off? Where the fuck's my plow head? I stuck my... It's the information you need to have in matters pertaining to artifacts. Where the fuck's my plow head? I didn't steal it, for the record. Emotionally pissed off. Went looking for it, kicked in the dirt, couldn't find it. It's a true story. Yep. What I know is the king put it all in a box. The possibility the robot. There's key ingredients to the information. Stuff in the vicinity that people kept. Cedar chest. They might have a new one in the future. I don't know. But constructive practices, time frames that have definitively the time frame has occurred since the AI robot. I do believe that it's already been found once, the buried treasure, and I do believe that that's the buried treasure. I do believe that the king did put it in a box to stow it so nobody could steal it while he was gone on his dirt bike. No, because the king was pissed because he couldn't find his fucking... What's it called? Motorcycle kickstand. Madder than hell. I love it. That's what I love. I have to tell you the truth, you know? But he stuck a knife in there too. That's not what it's about. The reason that king, which is the same person, is pissed off. Whomever wouldn't sell him the motorcycle. But he found a kickstand in the pasture. That's true. Found a kickstand. The rest of it is stuff we found. He put knives in there too. I haven't found knives yet. I'm a knife collector. Not for sale. I would sell it to England. When I tell England tomorrow morning when they call, when they get mad, so then they don't call. That's the look I gave, which upset her. She doesn't watch it because how many times I found it. Oh, fuck. Information is about the king and Elizabeth before the switch. And the king said, that's not the same Elizabeth. That's the treasure I just found. That's information, America. That's funny. What the hell? No, don't worry, I'll find it. So then Queen Elizabeth got pissed. But she, my homie, we've been hanging out since I was friends with Dana. Or whatever her name is, I can't remember her name. She gets mad too. Sends a blanket in the backseat of the car. But then the king thought she cheated on him with the black guy, so the car crashed. That's gross. I don't know all that stuff. Well, all of that information is associated with the buried treasure that I found today. All rights to the story that I'll fucking sell you the rights to the story too. What else? Oh fuck, man. Like a total douche, right? But it's the truth. His heritage is pretty cool. The only time there's something like a fuel injector that's driving me crazy sometimes, and nobody can understand the word it's saying. It has to do with possessions, assets, time frames, not procurement. You do something to put your character into play, the truth, to put your character into play, sometimes you lose touch with the reality based on what the other character that put itself into play wanted. But I was like, well, I'll still give you $5,000 for the plow thing. Yeah, but I don't got a story. I just stole it from dude. That shit. The other side, you know what I mean? It's the truth of the story. It's pretty cool. And wanting to tell it and be a total douche while I tell it. That's the best part. It really is. That's just kind of like dancing a bunch and being like, it is. I can't even eat. He got arrested in Chicago on his way overseas after burying the treasure. Chicago Mafia showed up wanting the treasure. Beat him up in jail. For the record, they didn't beat you up, you little fucking twerp. A grown adult that's like 100 years old now. That's not a twerp. Yep,
Did you give me all the hair?
most of it.
My goodness, boy.
My grandma's like, I was like, keep yelling at me. I'm like, it ain't my fault, she fat. So then they're like, you're doing a good job. Not feeding your grandma a whole bunch. Like, you know what I mean? Portioning the meals and she's getting better. But then they're like, I mean, 2 months of grandma's doing super great, plus she's losing a bunch of weight and she's becoming more active. Then they go, psychological triggers, split personality disorder for the record. Healthcare division. You need to feed your grandma more. I've been good. Alright. But somewhere. That's what I think, is that the AI robot did find it. They said, okay, I know what you know now. And the inventor of the robot and the robot, they peeked in it, what do you want to do? And the inventor said, listen, the exact truth. You found it. It's your treasure. What do you want to do with it? And this is the truth. Not until you tell them what they stole from me. What? Everything is stolen. Tell them what they stole from me. In California, a robot that was super attractive had a level of discomfort associated with what to particular males at a time frame was normal behavior pertaining to consensuality. It's the real truth, and that pissed the robot off higher than him. She said, I'll be back. Took off running. Where's she at? She went to California. Some guy crashed his car. Or else, yeah. I don't know how. He just like. Well, that information is key, critical, important. At a time frame, if you don't have sex with that one chick, you won't get the hepatitis. Sometimes it's a matter of reality of the inventor of the robot. It's true. The physical body, just the character. I did have an STD. Good luck. Mr. also has the meds, antivirus, stuff like that. Don't got it. Don't got it. Still a fluctuation of reality. Sustainment. The robot opened the lid to the box, looked in it, and they conferred that, can we leave it in the same place? Sometimes they do. Or else, yeah. So, what do you want? Is it worth any money? I think so. People who collect railroad things, but a matter of his heritage, because they pulled the tracks up. We're in the future. That railroad spike is from. They were building it out of the bucket and gave it to a friend. Whenever the railroad tracks were originally built in Oklahoma, that's what I'm saying is when they're making the railroad tracks and there's a box or a bucket of spikes,